the evening of the initiation day, all the newly initiated Edion danced to the residents of the Odion Way and also visited some homes of the various senior elders, where Chief Elder Ogbeide Onwonse was very conspicuous, especially at the country home of Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawo Igbenedion with his family on the night of the initiation. On the following morning, as part of the rite to be performed by the newly initiated Edion in Okada town, the initiates, led by Chief Elder Ogbeide Onwonse, visited the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawo Igbenedion, at his Okada country home residence to pay homage and appreciate him for all he has done in the development of the community, which has placed Okada in world map. They also thanked him for his role in the success of their ceremony. They commended the Esama of Benin as a custodian of Benin cultural heritage and for revitalizing the age-long tradition of the age-grade ceremony.
Good morning. Big thanks for joining me on the AM News on ITV. I am Philip Omogukwan. Note that you can watch ITV live online at www.itvradioNG.com/live. And of course, follow us on our social media platforms at Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at ITV Radio NG. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has warned President Bola Tinubu and the National Secretary of the Ruling All Progressives Congress, Ajibola Basiru, to stay clear of Rivers State politics. The minister gave the warning during a visit to Oyigbo local government area of Rivers State, alleging that the APC had received some funds from the 600 billion naira sum left in the state's coffers. He charged the APC secretary to learn from those who previously tried to meddle in Rivers State politics. During Mr. Wike's earlier visit to the Kana local government area of the state, Victor Giadom, APC's vice chairman representing the South-South region, had described Governor Siminalayi Fubara as so-called governor. He also stated that Mr. Fubara could not win a second term in the state without going through Mr. Wike. However, APC's National Secretary, Mr. Basiru, described Mr. Giadom's remarks as unfortunate.
If I don't say this, let me warn those who come to River State because you have heard about 600 billion. You come here, you collect, and you open your mouth, you talk anyhow. I want to say it. You know, when you are doing something for the interest of everybody, some people will come out to make sure those things don't work. I say it here, Victor, I want to say it here. Take this message. Tell your National Secretary, leave River State alone. Leave River State alone. Go and ask those who have tried it before. Go and ask those who have tried it before. Don't take our support from Mr. President for granted. You have to be careful the statement you make. You have to be careful.
During the Wike's earlier visit to the Kana local government area of the state, Victor Giadom, APC vice chairman representing the South-South region, had described Governor Siminalayi Fubara as a so-called governor. He also stated that Mr. Fubara could not win a second term in the state without going through Mr. Wike. However, APC's National Secretary, Mr. Basiru, described Mr. Giadom's remarks as unfortunate. Meanwhile, the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Ajibola Basiru, has called on the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to resign from office, following which what he described as repeated attacks and interference in the affairs of the ruling party, particularly in Rivers State. Basiru said his comments were in response to Wike's criticism of his position that sitting governors deserve respect and remain party leaders in their states. In a statement, Basiru expressed shock that what he termed an innocuous call to respect toward elected governors would attract what he described as uncouth responses from a member of the Federal Executive Council. He stressed that his remarks were made in his official capacity as APC National Secretary and were aimed at protecting the party's interests and internal structures. Basiru also stated that Wike is not a member of the APC and therefore lacks the standing to interfere in the party's internal affairs. He clarified that his oversight responsibilities as National Secretary are national in scope and not limited to his home state of Osun, insisting that his comments on APC matters in Rivers State do not amount to interference in state politics. Reacting to the allegations by Wike that APC leaders were scrambling for a purported 600 billion naira left in Rivers State coffers, Basiru dismissed the claim as blackmail. He described his personal and public record as one of integrity and challenged Wike to provide evidence for the allegation or be prepared to defend it in court. Back to Basiru further rejected what he described as veiled threats from the FCT minister, stating that political intimidation will not deter him. He added that Wike's support for President Bola Tinubu does not confer APC membership and warned against importing opposition party practices into the ruling party. He concluded by advising Wike to resign as minister if he intends to continue actions that, in his view, undermine the APC from within the government. The need for the management and staff of Independent Television and Radio Benin City to appreciate the Almighty God for his mercies and protection in the past years, while also paying close attention to their health and well-being, came to the fore on Monday as the station held its January 2026 monthly prayer session alongside the first health awareness program of the year. Joy Obai Siabon brings details.
The 1-hour praise and worship session of Independent Television and Radio held at St. Gabriel Hall, Igwosa, Benin City was attended by management, administrative, health and staff members. The session tagged Praise and Worship provided an avenue for collective thanksgiving and spiritual reflection at the start of the new year. In his address, the managing director of Independent Television and Radio, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, emphasized the importance of gratitude to God for daily kindness, protection and survival, noting that appreciation attracts more abundant blessings.
Let us collectively, as a group that believe that there is a God up here, that you believe that there is a creator, let's jointly, collectively praise that creator for just 1 hour.
The atmosphere was electrified with uplifting music from Deacon Patrick Uwabo and his band, as management and staff engaged in spirited worship, praise and thanksgiving for God's faithfulness. The session also served as an opportunity to seek divine mercy, guidance and grace for the year 2026. Following the prayer session, attention shifted to staff well-being during the first health awareness program of 2026, while media practitioners were advised to prioritize health consciousness, especially in view of work-related stress, fatigue, irregular meals, and lifestyle-induced illnesses. Delivering a lecture titled Healthy Voices, Healthy Screens, Strengthening Public Health Awareness in Media Workplaces, a consultant in community medicine and public health, Dr. Bodeno Ehis, emphasized the need for health-friendly workplace policies and access to medical support services for media professionals.
Stress as psychological hazard, stress from deadlines and live broadcasts, irregular sleeping pattern due to shift work, worker relationship, workers management relationship, long distance traveling, and long stay at workplace.
The program featured an interactive question and answer session during which participants raised concerns on stress management, preventive health care, and workplace health challenges. Reflecting on issues raised, the managing director, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, called for improved personal responsibility, stronger departmental collaboration, and healthier management staff relationships within the organization. In her closing remarks, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Lady Celerina Ojomo, urged staff members to sustain unity and togetherness throughout the year.
Management and staff led by Anton, thank you for leadership. Thank you for worker-management relationship. Thank you all staff for worker-worker relationship. You know we are going to this. And the Lord help us all in Jesus' name.
Also speaking, the Executive Director Operations, Chief Elder Ogbede Owuwonsi, and Director of Radio, Dr. Dan Omozusi, stressed the importance of cooperation and teamwork in achieving organizational goals.
Whatever you are doing in enhancing this job, you are doing it unto God Almighty. You don't need to be supervised. Everybody's reward is with God, and he must surely get it.
God has done so much for us. The food that we give to God is praises. That's why we started this year praising God.
From Benin, Joy Obaisiagbon, ITV News.
Kada Plaza, an entertainment center along Sapele Road in Benin City, has upgraded its cinema to 5D video quality with swinging chairs, offering a wide variety of films, including cartoons. The coordinator of the cinema, Mr. Adeleye, disclosed this the news crew of independent television during a visit to the world-class entertainment center. Valentina Kodija has the rest of it.
Kada Plaza, an entertainment center in Benin City, witnessed an influx of fun seekers as part of activities to mark the new year. Visitors were seen shopping and enjoying the serene environment with their children. Speaking on the remodeled cinema, Mr. Adeleye said they have upgraded to 5D standard with modern swiveling chairs that enhance movie watching experience. He also invited fun seekers to come and enjoy the new features.
It's not like the normal movie you sit down and watch for entertainment. You are a part of it, you flow with it, and this time you don't just see it with your optical eyes, you have to use the glasses meant for it. It's called the 5D glasses. You put it on, it brings you into the movie and the movie into you. That is how it is. You can see it in the form of cartoons, you can also see it in the form of human beings.
Some visitors thanked the management of Kada Plaza and Entertainment Center for providing quality service in Edo State and commended the staff for the new 5D cinema hall.
I just want to have fun, make myself happy. You know, this new year, new things. Kada Plaza is one of the best in this Benin year, so you don't need to say that much. So when you come here, you will see yourself.
So the place is okay. I'm meant to see behind the scene, which I'm hoping to see. I pray it's interesting. And it's a place to watch a movie now, a nice place to be, and a nice place to see many people here. And you can actually have friends here too.
When I come to Kada to watch movie, it's always, amazing.
Kada Plaza and Entertainment Center remains one of the top destinations in Benin City for entertainment and family fun. From Benin, Wellington Akodija, ITV News.
A new commissioner of police, Delta State Command, Mr. Aino Adesina, has resumed duty as the 23rd commissioner of police in the state, pledging to strengthen the security architecture and reduce crime in the state. Warri correspondent Benga Ahmed reports that the commissioner made this remark while officially assuming office at the Delta State Police Command headquarters in Asaba.
The new commissioner of police, Delta State Command, SP Aino Adesina, was received at the police headquarters in Asaba by officers and men of the command on Monday, January 5th, 2026, where he inspected a guard of honor mounted in his honor. He takes over from CP Olufemi Abaniwanda. Addressing newsmen shortly after the parade, SP Aino Adesina said the mandate given to him is to strengthen the security architecture of Delta State, considering its strategic importance to the nation's economy and reduce crime and criminality.
Delta State remains one of the economic hubs of our nation, and it is well established that no society or economy can thrive in an atmosphere of insecurity. It is therefore our responsibility to protect lives, properties, and legitimate economic activities across the state. In line with this mandate, I wish to reassure the good people of Delta State that the command under my leadership will consolidate on existing gains while adopting the professional, intelligence-driven, and people-centered approach.
CP Aino previously served at Ogwashoko in 1996 and later as Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations in Delta State from 2023 to early 2025 before his elevation as the 23rd Commissioner of Police of the state. He was also Deputy Commandant Police College, where he served for 7 months period to his posting. From Warri, Benga Hamed, ITV News.
Edo State Security Corps have arrested a 21-year-old man, Thank God Destiny, for alleged attempted kidnapping of a 4-year-old boy, Wisdom Egiato, in Ikuba Hill, Benin City. The arrest followed a tip-off from members of the public who raised the alarm over the suspect's suspicious movement with a child on Sunday, January 4, 2026. Crime correspondent Jolade Ojo has the rest of it.
Swift intervention by operatives of the Edo State Security Corps prevented what could have been a tragic incident. 4-year-old Wisdom Egiato was rescued from an alleged kidnap attempt in Ikobail, Benin City. Eyewitnesses, including commercial bus driver George Osanyengo and one of his passengers, said the suspect stopped their vehicle, claiming he was taking the child, allegedly his sister's son, to the hospital for treatment. The suspect's inconsistent explanations and suspicious behavior raised alarm, thereby prompting bystanders to alert nearby operatives of the Edo State Security Corps.
If you meet me, let me assist with this picking, so I start picking all well. Then what can I go hospital? Because make us enter. Before those where you they go again, you want to go buy a shoe. I'll go buy a shoe. Now go be the person again.
Upon questioning, the suspect denied attempting to kidnap the child, claiming that it was only taking him to buy snacks at the boy's request.
Why you carry on? Same say my buy something. At last I don't get cash. As I come outside, they follow me. So the baby you call follow me. As the mama you call the friend and I just carry and go, they go head first. I just come outside, so I want to move to my house, go buy and team at the corner.
The child's mother, Marvelous Amading, who had been searching for her missing son, later arrived at the scene and shared her audio.
For kitchen, my body they give me say my children. As I come out, I don't see this one. Now I begin the final they follow kick slow. This boy I don't know her before. Not my family, I don't know her.
The operatives subsequently arrested the suspect and handed him over to the Ore Beni Police Division, Ikobail. From Benin, Jola Diojo, ITV News.
You're watching the AM News on ITV. We turn to more stories after this short break. Borno State Police Command has uncovered a hidden cache of 912 rounds of B-32 API ammunition in the Kumshe Jambemari area of Maiduguri. Police Public Relations Officer ASP Nahum Dasso said the ammunition has been secured while investigations are ongoing to trace its source and intended use. He said the discovery was made on January 4, 2026, following credible intelligence, adding that the explosive ordnance disposal unit was immediately deployed to the scene. The Commissioner of Police, Naziru Abdumajid, commended members of the public for their timely information and reiterated the command's commitment to intelligence-led policing. Meanwhile, troops of Operation Hadinkai also recovered 1,270 rounds of 12.7 mm ammunition concealed inside a drainage in the Bulunkutu area of Maiduguri. Oyo State Governor Sheyi Makinde has announced a cabinet reshuffle. The governor relieved Professor Olanike Adeyemo of her duties as secretary to the state government, appointing Professor Mosibao Babatunde as her replacement. Other changes include the redeployment of Barrister Temilolu Ashamu and the nomination of Ademola Aderinto as commissioner designate. And now talking sports, where Nigeria thrashed Mozambique 4-0 to book their spot in the quarterfinals of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Ademola Lookman put Super Eagles ahead in the 20th minute, finishing emphatically from an Akol Adams cutback. Nigeria doubled their lead 5 minutes later through Victor Osimhen, which ensured they went into halftime with a comfortable lead. Super Eagles resumed the second half with the same attacking intent from the first half, and Victor Osimhen got his brace, converting into an empty net from an Ademola Lookman assist. Akol Adams rounded off their scoring in the 75th minute with their fourth goal through Akol Adams, with Lookman grabbing his second assist in the encounter. That's about it on the AM News. Thanks for watching. I am Philip Omo Gupon. Coming shortly is TMI. Happy viewing.
aṣáájú ẹ̀ abẹ́rẹ́ sọ pé. Àyàbá sọ́kè abá sọ́pà ẹ̀. Àlàyé àpàdé abá sọ́pà ẹ̀. Ẹgbẹ̀túwà.
Especially with the issues of the tax regime, the new tax regime, and of course all of the controversy that it comes with. And we look at. apologize for the loss of audio in our earlier broadcast, and this is This Morning on ITV. I want to say big thanks for joining us. Still basking in the euphoria of the new year 2026. Well, expectations are high about what is going to be unfolding, most especially as we take our minds on the aspect concerning the new tax regime, and of course all of the controversy that it comes with. And well, we have it all over record, and of course even the controversy is so heated up the nation to a point where even the National Association of Nigerian Students are planning to embark on a protest, and of course other groups are also joining majorly as it affects the aspect of the tax regime, where the National Assembly had to clarify with the certified true copies, saying what has happened basically in terms of the circulation of the new tax reforms is quite different from what are in the certified true copies. And of course, this basically will have to go into what it means for the Nigerian people. We look at the tax regime, the new tax regime. We look at the need for us to basically pay our taxes, and of course, what it comes with in terms of infrastructure development. But this new tax regime, what impact is it having on economic reforms? Is it going to bring a boost to the economy, or is it going to increase inflation? Well, we look at the areas as regards who will be affected: the income earners, of course, the traders, and of course the business owners. And as we always remark, whenever it comes to the point where business owners have to pay taxes or increase in their cost of production, that's part of the burden is passed to the final consumers, as you know. But how will this bring about a change in our economy? Will it be for the positive or the negative? All of this, what we're going to be looking at today. And of course, we also put our spotlight on the 2027 in prospect, most especially as we look at the aspects of the ADC and the third force debate. And will the ADC be a strong third force that will be able to compete with the All Progressives Congress and of course the People's Democratic Party in producing the next president in the year 2027? And of course, we look at the need to spotlight the flag bearer, possible flag bearer of the presidency in that party, and what could be the remarks that it would come with, the benefits it would come with, if they have a very, very robust candidate that would, tickle the fancy of all. Well, we just take our minds back to what the obedience movement said concerning Peter Obi, that they are in for Peter Obi in the ADC as the presidential candidate for the ADC. Otherwise, they are out. Well, rumors have it that basically Peter Obi could be the running mate of Alhaji Atiku, one-time vice president of Nigeria. Well, we're going to be looking at all of this, but don't forget, it's a Theory Network discussion. And of course, joining us from Abuja, we've got Dominic AMS. Good morning, Dominic, and of course, good morning, Patricia from Lagos.
Good morning. Good morning. Very wonderful morning, and of course, happy New Year to you, Philip and Patricia over there in Lagos. Of course, it's a program this morning on ITV. You've given us a quite handful of what we should be expecting this morning on the program. Just like you rightly mentioned, the ADC stands to be one of the opposition party, or rather trying to become one opposition party that Nigerians should look out for as we enter the electionary year 2026. Prior to the election in 2027, we've seen finally Peter Obi has finally joined the ADC. Like you mentioned there, we will not want to speculate, but we know we have three persons who may really want to vie for the president's ticket for that particular party. We have Peter Obi is there, Amechi is there, and Atiku is also staying in that party. Well, that will be our focus from Abuja, and this month we'll be looking at ADC as an opposition party and what does it mean going forward for the 2027 presidential election. But from Abuja, we're very, very ready to give you the best of broadcasting as far as the current affairs program is concerned this morning on Night TV.
Well, thank you, Dominic. That's a reminder that that's the first time we are meeting at the network as regards the New Year 2026. Happy New Year to you once again. And of course, you seem great and turning a new look in the year 2026. That shows that 2026 will be very, very prospective. All right, let's get your thoughts on what you've got on your plate. Patricia from our Lagos Network Center. Good morning.
Good morning, Philip, and Happy New Year to you. I mean, it's an amazing thing to see you this morning looking this handsome and dashing. Okay, we'll be continuing on the tax reform, and we started the topic yesterday. So we're going to be continuing on that this morning because a lot of Nigerians I know are very confused concerning this tax reform. We've seen a lot of people complaining that every little thing you do will be taxed. In fact, yesterday I saw a video where a woman said she went to buy something of about 400,000 and she was taxed for it. And, you know, she was also complaining that people are sitting down now taking the tax. So she doesn't understand if that's what the tax really stands for. So we're going to continue. We started yesterday. We want to continue this morning to make it clear for every Nigerian to understand what the tax reform is actually.
Well, that's actually what is having the reports, you know, a national discourse. Big thanks for that, Patricia. And that shows a whole lot. We've got a big bite from Lagos Network Center also as regards that. We look at the certified copies, the true certified copies by the National Assembly. That shows a different version that were circulated, you know, which basically does not mimic that which were certified true copies from the National Assembly. And that again brings a lot of question. Why should there be a different version from what the National Assembly, you know, really brought up? Well, all of this will be a challenge because we have the, you know, 4 acts that includes the Nigeria Tax Act 2025, of course, also the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, alongside the, you know, National Revenue Service Act 2025 and the Joint Board Revenue 2025. All of these put in one as true certified copies by the National Assembly should be exactly what should be circulated and not the otherwise. Again, the impact, like what Patricia said, you know, going by what is happening in terms of the increase in commodities, what will it mean for the Nigerian government? Of course, we're going to be having public affairs analysts to discuss this alongside, and we will be taking a short break, after which we're going to be looking at the pages of the newspaper. Basically, there must be something to look at today on the pages. Do stay. To know you are there as we spotlight the papers right about now. And our first paper will be hitting the screen in a jiffy. Yeah, we've got the Daily Trust, and of course, the Daily Trust comes with this very big headline: Governor Yusuf's defection beyond Kano. Can you imagine that? Beyond the state. So, what is the defection going towards? Global? All right, let's look at this. The top of the cover page, we have this very, very troublesome. Anyways, troublesome because you throw something into the river, it gives you some ripples, and that's what we have here. Wike, APC National Secretary, clash over Fubara. And Wike always topping the headlines when it comes to issues about topsy-turvy politics and intrigues and suspense. And this time around, where is it taking River State politics towards? Big question you may ask, because sometimes you wonder why is it basically just fighting so hard to bring ripples and of course the effects of politics on the sitting governor. Well, like we always say, let the sitting governor breathe. Come on now. Well, let's get back to the screen and let's see what is next on the Daily Trust. As we have this again, it says Boko Haram IED kills 6 soldiers in Borno. Well, this is quite very sad. In spite of the threats given to the terrorists, by international spotlights, looking at the United States and of course Donald Trump, and of course the fighting hard, strength of the soldiers, the Nigerian military, we're still having this. Boko Haram IED kills 6 soldiers in Borno. Well, let's see what this says. Nigeria crushed Mozambique to reach AFCON quarterfinal. That's quite a breakthrough, quite good news. I watched the match yesterday and I was really, really intrigued. But like some would say, it's still very early to predict. But it's not too early to show happiness and strength and positivism, optimism for our super team. And I believe that as we continue to trail them to victory, we will come home with a cup. Well, some will say, well, at the early stage, we're always doing our best. But as we get close to the final, topsy-turvy, of course, comes up. But this time around, it's going to be different because Super Team are basically going to bring their cup home. This is just beyond being optimistic anyways. We've got what it takes. Okay, so back to the screen. Well, let's look at the next on the pages of the newspaper. What next is hitting the screen on the papers today? Let's get the next paper. Of course, we've got the Guardian newspaper, and it comes with very, very colorful sayings here. Tax reform risks sluggish, uncertain execution timelines over tardy NSW. That's basically it. The controversy that the tax reforms is coming with will bring about a very sluggish, execution, because there are already, limitations. There are already frictions being generated by the fact that we are having, a double version. We have the true certified copies from the National Assembly that does not really connote what is being circulated. So that brings a whole lot of question, a whole lot of controversy, and how can that be tackled? All right, a lot here to read about. Let's get to the top of the cover page. Venezuela treatment lesson to Nigeria. ADC wants Tinubu. You get that on news page 3. Maduro pleads not guilty in U.S. court, says, I'm still president. And of course, you get that on the page 2. Osun APC accuses state government of inducing local government crisis, seeks NJC intervention. You get that on news page 3. Of course, let's get more here at the side of the cover page, where we have equities break 100 trillion barrier as 4 firms control 50% of the market. Although courts shut down as judiciary workers begin indefinite strike. Indefinite strike again. And this says Southwest Alliance shortest route to Igbo presidency, says Kalu. Well, the whole talk about the ADC as a third force, and of course the possible emergence of Peter Obi as the presidential flag bearer, could that bring fortune to the party and of course to the country? Well, these are the thoughts that we will be looking at even in the course of the show today. As we get back to the pages of the newspaper, we have this which says APC draws battle line with Wike over Rivers political control. Yeah, you can see a lot of that even with the secretary of the party calling Wike to order, as Wike was cited, even warning, the president and of course the APC leaders to stay clear from Rivers politics. If Wike can be warning the president, I wonder what's going to be next. But well, don't forget, Wike is not a party member of APC, and he was reminded that by the secretary of the APC. And of course, this tornado, this hurricane, kind of emergence of troublemaking in Rivers, what will it leave for the FCT minister? Just like the APC leader said, if he can maintain status quo, he should resign as the FCT minister. Many troubles. Many troubles. Well, let's see what next here on the big stories on the Guardian newspaper. We see have it still on the Guardian newspaper. It says federal government introduces new measures to curb WAEC NECO exam practices. Wow. All right, this says Obi chides federal government on killing spree over 40 slain in Niger. That's quite a very sad one. Very, very sad one, as questions have been raised about the leadership under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Big questions coming up. Let's see the next on the dailies today. Let's get the next on the screen, which is the... Here we have the Nation's newspaper, and of course the Nation's newspaper comes with this very big story. NROS chair, tax reforms will support sustainable growth. Quite interesting, but where we have different versions being circulated, gives some headache, and we need to take some analgesic as a country to cure that headache. if you may ask me. All right, this says laws not targeted at opposition figures. Laws not targeted at opposition figures. Well, some would say all of this controversy hitting the Tax Reform Act could be as a result of politically motivated trends. Well, that's what some would say. All right, let's quickly look at this. Still on the headline, Wike Basiru clash over Rivers politics, and that is what is still trending. And of course, we have this. It says, Kwankwaso, Governor Yusuf, part ways. A time to come together and a time to part ways. Does that resemble disunity? Well, we don't need that in our country. We only need to be united so that we can stand as one. This says stock market capitalization hits 101 trillion naira. And of course, a lot there you must read about as we have days arraigned Maduro and President. It says, President, Ondo Justice Ministry and 3 others lead in performance review. You get that on page 6. And on Kalu, time out for Otis government. You get that on page 5. Well, let's see together, last but not the least, on the papers we're looking at today, which is the Vanguard newspaper. And of course, the Vanguard newspaper comes with a whole lot of stories there. We have this big one: terrorists abduct passengers on busy Kwara highway. Just as the terrorists are doing that, they shouldn't forget the fact that every day for the thief, one day for the owner. And there's going to be a different twist to it. They say terrorists kill the terrorists. All right, this says Trump sets sight on Greenland, threatens Cuba, Colombia, and Mexico. Trump at it again, you may say. Let's look at this one here, still on the troubles rocking Rivers politics. And the cowboy is already there. It's very, very notable when it comes to Rivers politics. Wike APC's cry on warpath over Rivers. Well, that's it. That's it. Of course, let's look at this. It says over 33% of Nigerian immigrants in U.S. live on public benefits. And that's coming from Trump. Why will you say this? Why will you say this? Oh boy, that's quite a Trumpy Trump, if you ask me. All right, this says Super Eagles trash members 4-0, zoom into quarterfinals. That's quite a big news there. And of course, let's look at this cartoon. Quite interesting for Mr. and Mrs. We have this here. It says, I told you it's better to buy a big turkey for Christmas, but you opted for the medium size. I heard our neighbors bought the big one. Having a woman in the house that seems to be big when it comes to ambition. Huh? What do you say? This says, the response was this. Yuletide enjoyment lasts only for a while, but the financial hangover, lingers for a long time. That sounds like wisdom, food for thought that we all must look into. You can decide to spend all you've got today, but tomorrow, what are you going to do? You're going to look like a dummy? Come on now. Save what you need to save for tomorrow, because if tomorrow comes and you don't have anything to spend, you'll be standing on the long thing. We'll take a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to be looking at the discussion proper from the Media Network Center as we take a deep dive into the tax saga and, of course, addressing issues as they come. And, of course, the aspect of the ADC as a third force and what is going to be coming with in terms of the presidential flag bearer. Could it be fortune for the party or fortune for the country? How's it going to look like ahead of 2027? We'll take a short break. Do stay.
àtọ́jú ẹ̀ abẹ́ sọ pé. Àyàbá sọ́kè, abá sọ́pà ẹ̀. Àlàyé àtọ́jú ẹ̀, abá sọ́pà ẹ̀. Ẹgbẹ̀júwà.
Yes, we're looking at the new tax regime issues at stake as we look at the 4 acts brought about that includes the Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025 and of course that of the Tax Act 2025 and the National Revenue Service and of course the Joint Board Tax Act 2025. What does this mean for our economy? Will it bring a boost or will it bring the otherwise? And there are different shades and of course argument in this respect, most especially as we seem to be having a different version turned out as differently from that which are codified in the certified true copies from the National Assembly. And of course discussing this with me, I have a political economist, a lecturer from the Abrasali University, joining me via Zoom, Ibrahim Mama. Big thanks for joining and Happy New Year.
Good morning, Philip. Compliments of the season. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Awesome. You look great in the year 2026. And of course, all right. Of course, joining me still from in the studio right here, I've got a legal practitioner, a public affairs analyst, and a person of Emmanuel Obakwolo. Big thanks for joining me and Happy New Year 2026.
Happy New Year to you, Philip. Happy New Year to Nigerians. Good morning, Nigerians.
Awesome. So what would be the litigations that you'll be coming up with in the year 2026? We started today.
Yes, we started already, and we pray and hope that things work well.
So we may be testing the tax reforms in the court.
Some of us are already in the court.
Oh. Can we have a courtroom here too?
No, not at all.
All right, so we're gonna be taking a short break, after which we go to the discussion proper. Don't you miss out on this. Do stay. Thank you for joining me still on This Minute TV as we look at the new tax regime. Where we had a break, we were opportune to be joined by a political scientist, lecturer, University of Benin, and he is Neville Obakedo. Big thanks for coming, Neville, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Good morning, viewers and listeners at home and all over the world.
Let's quickly get you Ibrahim Momo. Now, we have this challenge. It's becoming a saga, most especially when, you know, there are different twists to what this new tax will come up with. How does it favor, or how will it favor, you know, the workers, the traders, and of course the business owners, alongside the controversy, you know, brewing over the differences we are having from the certified true copies from the National Assembly and the different version being circulated. What are your thoughts?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to my friends in the studio, my friends in the studio. So I think, in my humble opinion, the controversies are, one, needless, and a lot of the apprehension about change or reforms. I think those are the issues I see, you know, writ large. I say that because, first, these tax reform bills or acts are pro-people. One, it raised the threshold of tax exemption from 300,000 to 800,000. Meaning that if you are earning 800,000 naira or less, in Nigeria, as of 2026, you are not going to be paying tax. That's an improvement of over 500,000, more than double what it used to be. It used to be just 300,000. So that's the first thing. So I felt among those who are supposed to benefit from it, if you have people from that tax bracket complaining, are they saying that it should not be exempted? The answer is, you know, it's something that I think our viewers who are listening on the show can you know, address themselves. Secondly, if the issue around another controversy borders around consolidation of the tax that people are paying. You know, currently if, for example, but if it particularly applies to business holdings or business owners, if you want to do contracts, for example, for government, if you are doing a federal government contract, you need a tax identification number team to do that contract. If you are not doing a contract here in Edo State, you also need a tax clearance certificate, different from the team that you are required to, to produce at the federal level. This is something that amounts to multiple taxation for business concerns. What the new Tax Reform Act does is that it consolidates all. Rather than a TCC for Edo, tax and then a TIN for Nigeria, you now have a tax ID that applies both in Nigeria and in the subnational, Edo, and even the local government, maybe Redo. The third thing that this Tax Reform Act does, and I think, which is why I feel that it's not commended, is the fact that it addresses the imbalance of, VAT, the VAT, value-added tax. It had to. Top business concerns in Nigeria only pay tax at their headquarters. For example, the two biggest taxpayers in Nigeria are the MTN, which is headquartered in Lagos, and Dangote Industries Limited, which is also headquartered in Lagos. Before 2026, what was at play was that you pay your tax, MTN and Dangote, among other major taxpayers, pay their VAT in Lagos. So Lagos has a lion's share of VAT. What this does, it says no. MTN subscribers are not only in Lagos. Dangote cement purchasers are not only in Lagos. Every state ought to be able to ascertain exactly how much VAT was generated in each of the states. But what people are talking about when they talk about VAT, that no, that alcohol, beverages, cigarettes, that what the government is trying to do now is to deny the section of the country of those VAT. The answer is no. So these are some of the issues. So for me, I think that it is a welcome, from a political economist point of view, it's a welcome development, this new Tax Reform Act. And I think our people should embrace it. Some of the reasons which I've given already.
Well, let's get your thoughts, Emmanuel Obakpolo. We are having a different version being circulated. I don't know what your thoughts are like, most especially if we take a juxtapose with that of the National Assembly.
I do not say anything spectacular about the tax reform law or act as the case, save that the government was able to harmonize different versions of the act and summarize them into 4 acts. Just like the controversies raised by a member of the National Assembly, which till today the government has not deemed it right or deemed it reasonable to investigate whether or not that allegation raised with respect to the controversies or discrepancies, as the case may be, is investigated and ensure that the truth about the position of the gazetted law and that was enacted by the National Assembly are one and the same. Till today, the government shies away from that. But yet, we kept hearing the man called Taiwo Oyedele, who happens to be the chairman of the committee, keep telling Nigerians that the tax has come to liberate the suffering of the poorer Nigerians as against the richer ones or the big boys, so to speak, financially. But again, I want to ask, do we have a data of those who are below the range of 800,000 naira annually down? Do we have it? So when you see government try to play the cards faster than they ought to and begin to present issues to Nigerians, that look, everybody should just take it hook, line and sinker, everybody should embrace, as they kept advising, to the extent that government has spent 20 billion naira in ensuring that about 6 content creators tell Nigerians, educate Nigerians on the need to pay tax. That goes to tell you that there is a lot of hide and seek game with respect to the tax law as we have seen, as we see it just now. Now, if you look at the whole issues, that both the tax and the issues that the committee, one that beats me hollow, one that concerns me properly, is that the gazetted one provides, I cannot lay my hands now on the section, that the committee can enforce the payment of tax without recourse to court. Whereas that passed by the National Assembly is that tax evasion is a constitutional duty of the court. Oh. Section 6 of the Constitution gives power to the court with respect to the interpretation of laws. Now,
bringing this harmony.
Yes, if now you now give that power to a committee, then I think we are going to another era of Agberoism or Togri as we have. And also, you look at the tax collection. Over the years, we've seen in different states, even from the federal level, you see people with hammer, you see people with cutlasses, you see people with sticks. They will stand on the road and begin to collect tax. We hope we are not going to see another of that in this tax regime, where Agbero's thugs will not be the one that will be vested with the powers with the collection of tax. And at the end of the day, the government will tell, oh, don't mind. After all, we heard in this state, somebody did say, a former governor did say, it takes a madman to take money from mad people. So if every one of us in Nigeria, as they have tagged us to be mad, and they now group dogs who are mad to also ensure that they force us to pay tax, I hope we will not go to that era. Now, when you look at the whole scenario, the whole drama with respect to this tax, I want to tell you with Philip this morning, it is needful, it is expedient, it is proper, it is dutiful, it is constitutional for every Nigerian to pay tax if you are up to the tax age. But what do they do with the money so paid? We saw with the flip of the finger, with the wave of the palm, subsidy gone. And we are meant to understand. I listened to one of the ministers say that the president has been able to save 10 trillion naira every year. Where are the monies? Yeah, what do they do with the money? And when you ask, the president will tell you, go to your governors. And I hope we are not going to see another era where they will force Nigerians to pay tax and take the money to share among themselves and live lavish life, live bogus life, travel abroad. While they are in India, they tell us they are in Europe. While they are in Syria, they tell us that they are in Uzbekistan. I hope that is not what we are going to witness again. So if the government is sincere and honest, and the government wants Nigerians to trust them, every money realized should be spent expeditiously to ensure that the project, we should be able to see project, we should be able to see, we should be able to feel, we should be able to touch where our monies are going to. And not the one where they collect from the poor, you give to the rich. And at the close of the day, they'll tell us, oh, the tax reform law points to the fact that everybody should pay tax, and tax is not those below the salary, annual salary of 800,000 that are not paying tax. I challenge the government. That's why some of us have chosen to go to court. They should give us data of those who receive less than 800,000 annually.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Well, let's get your thoughts as a political scientist now. What does this mean for the polity? Because we are having different groups already agitated, and of course in the dailies, Nance already saying that they will be embarking on a protest. We know what protest comes with, if not properly guarded. What do you see about this controversy?
Well, thank you for your question. By my own understanding, taxes are sources of revenue for government. And every government that sees that the tax system of its environment is not favorable or need to be broadened to attract investment and to reduce burden on the citizens, they usually carry out what we call tax reform. That the tax reform in Tinubu's administration does not mean that if another government comes tomorrow, can also reverse the estate tax reform and bring in a new agenda. Now, when we talk about tax reform, government needs to be careful in carrying out tax reform because of the reverberating effect that it used to have on the people and the society. I remember around 2019, 2020, the government of Emmanuel Macron talked about tax increment on VAT on certain products in France. That led to almost 3 months of violence. That tax reform was to take effect in 2021 because they made that law a year before its effect. And government property were touched by irate people because they felt that the government was not transparent and government was charging the citizens. The facts are there. We talk about tax reform in countries where controversial issues about tax reform and good governance, transparency, and the impact of the tax reform of the citizen were not laid bare. They were not made public. They were not. The people were not carried along with the process. And then crisis followed. An example is the crisis that took place in Kenya, not quite long. Then, as we speak, people are agitated in Venezuela. Yeah. I saw them rejoicing. I saw a lot of people coming out to say, oh, the action of Donald Trump in removing their president, Nicolas Maduro, and so on. I saw recently the young people in Morocco. They were protesting over bad governance, unemployment, and other issues that had to do with taxation and issues of societal impact of administration of the president or of the king. Not quite long, we saw massive protests in Nepal, in Bangladesh, and other places. Now, it goes to show that leadership failed in those places. It carried the people along. And then we have a more populated youth across different countries of the world, including Nigeria. Now, talking about the tax reform of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I know that tax reform is one of the things that Tinubu said was going to do in his agenda, what they call a Renew Hope agenda, which to my mind was drawn from Hope 93, that was spearheaded by MKO Abiola and the Social Democratic Party. Now, what is that bothers me is the issue of signing a document into law without reading the document. For example, if I'm president, then National Assembly, I've already dropped a document before National Assembly. Then they have deliberated, they have signed the document, they are now bringing it back to me to sign. I would like to confirm before I append my signature whether what we agreed on or what they agreed on is what I'm going to sign. Sometimes I see governors.
Are you by this saying that the president does not pay attention to details?
I'm not talking about, I'm talking generally. I'm not talking about President Tinubu now. I'm saying presidents, including President Tinubu. When I'm saying governors, including our own state governor. Because, for example, you will see the House of Assembly in a state. They will just approve budget today. Then later today, maybe they approve the budget this morning. Later today, they will take the budget to the governor. Yeah. The speaker will be there. Other majority, minority leadership of the house, they will be there. The governor will sit down. They will give him the document. He will sign the document. Yeah. If I'm the governor, I will not sign the document like that.
Yeah, but the reason you are saying this is because you are seeing some variations. And that also shows and tells bad about the performance of the president in not perusing the document properly.
No. That is not what the point I'm trying to make is that whether you are president or you are not president, like my humble self, if I find myself being the head of department of my department tomorrow, and somebody brings a letter, and so sign this letter, maybe they will say the vice chancellor needs the letter now, or the dean needs the letter now.
Okay.
And they will say sign. I cannot sign it. I have to read it before I sign it. Because I don't know what I'm going to sign.
Let me give you an in-total question. Yeah. Who should take the blame in these different versions being circulated?
Who should take the blame? The person that append his final signature.
Who did?
When you say who did, there's a process for
you seem to be running away from that.
No, I'm not running away from it. The final signature of the document
who did?
Is the signature of the president.
Exactly.
If that is what you want. And I've said, I say it beats my imagination that a person as high as the president can append his signature on a document that is a law without reading the law.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
That is the point.
I'll come back to you. Ibrahim, You heard what Neville said. Does that tell well of the performance of the president, looking at what just transpired?
Well, it's interesting. What Dr. Neville said was that as a leader whose signature ought to be appended to a document, is necessarily ought to go through. He didn't indict the president for signing a wrong document. Please do not misquote him. At least I listened keenly when my dear senior colleague spoke. He didn't indict the president. What he said was that the due process is that before you sign, you ought to go through. And that I want to also, puncture the argument that I see on the social media, and Barrister Bakpolo has also reiterated that in the studio. There is no evidence to back up that widely acclaimed false narrative that there are multiple. The fact that everybody is telling a lie does not turn the lie to truth, does not make it untruth. I think we need to be a bit careful how we push out information. The ITV is a much more credible medium than social media. So I think that being a lawyer himself, he knows this more than I do. I'm not a lawyer. He knows more than I do that he who alleges must prove. If indeed he subscribes to that false narrative, I call it false narrative because all the evidence I've seen shows that those allegations are unfounded. But if he has a different version, he should bring those documents before, because this is a public square, it's a public forum. People are listening and learning from what we are saying. I agree with the fact that so far, there are no controversy as to what the law is. The law is what National Assembly passed, which the president assented to. So, like Dr. Neville said correctly too, and is that before the president's appellate signature, he went through it, or at least he went through it, and they are sure that this what National Assembly brought that was passed. These allegations that the role of the court has been removed, there's no law, there's no legislation, no bill that is passed into law in Nigeria that is in contravention of the ground norm, the Constitution of Nigeria that will stand. The Constitution is clear. When there are controversies between even arms of government, executive and legislature, for example, or between the people and the states, the court is the final arbiter. It is not acceptable that people will keep on pushing this false narrative. And even if assuming it existed, the lawyer knows that it cannot stand the test of time, because if it's tested in court, it will fail. So I think the president did not make any mistake, to the best of my knowledge. It is only that those who are controversy entrepreneurs, those who benefit from controversy. In fact, the reason why I'm talking about the tax issue, we have left the issue. What are the provisions? What we are talking about is the controversies that have been generated on social media. That's what we're discussing now. The chairman of the Tax Reform Committee, which was quoted earlier, has clarified that there are no variants between what the National Assembly passed and what the president. Where does this issue come from? If there are evidence, show us right here on the program. That's my take on the issue.
Okay, are you by this saying that all of this confusion that seems to be meeting the eyes is politically motivated?
It's beyond politics. It's beyond politics. I think what is at play is the nature of man. Skepticism is natural. We oftentimes resist change. In fact, people who have been pushing the argument that say the president should suspend implementation of the Tax Reform Act until this controversy has been laid to rest.
Exactly.
Which other way can we lay those controversies to rest other than those who are alleged should prove? If you are saying that there are various claims, these are things I've heard across social media, across media platforms, and these issues have been repeatedly laid to rest. That this controversy is contrived. It does not exist in real time. I don't think that it's possible. I don't know what we are going alleging, whether it's actually something that we should be taking cognizance of. That National Assembly passed 4 acts on tax reform, and those which is applicable to every part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And that those acts were manipulated before the president signed. I would have yet allegation that have been made.
All right, thank you, Ibrahim. Well, you just took that from my thoughts, basically, because I was to ask you that, because all of this is brewing to a point where some have this argument that until these gray areas are resolved, the implementation of the tax reform should be suspended. Do you have that thought?
Listen, Mr. Philip, this is the only country in the world where when government takes part in malpractice, government, their sympathizers and supporters will be calling for evidence. This is the only country in the world. Allegation was raised by a member of the National Assembly, not me, Obakbolo, not social media. What do you think ought to have been done by the government? Carried out investigation, investigate that allegation. Has the government be able to investigate and come up that this is the result of our investigation? The answer is a no. The CTC of the act passed by the National Assembly is different from the one gazetted. Some of us have gone to court. It's not what I'm going to say here. But I want to tell you that the government is deliberately silent over the allegations, controversies raised. The government is deliberately silent. The interest of the government is let the tax reform law commence. That is the interest of the government. The government has not been able to come out to say, Nigerians, this is the gazetted document. This is the CTC passed by the National Assembly. Where are the controversies or discrepancies? Is it me that will go and conduct the investigation? Is it me?
Okay.
And now, I raised an issue here. The government is also telling Nigerians that, look, the tax reform law is to assist the poor as against the rich. That's what the government is telling us. But the government has not been able to come up with a data of who are the poor and who are the rich.
I want Neville to look into that, most especially as Emmanuel Obakolo also raised an issue. You know, we look at the subsidy removal, fair subsidy removal, where it was said that, well, the leadership under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has increased, revenue, for the states as a result, for the country, and of course goes about for the subnational government. But do the infrastructures we see depict the fact that this increase, in revenue is really affecting the people positively? I want you to look at it most especially as we x-ray what benefits will be coming from this, because there seem to be mistrust for the government from the people. The people seem not to have trust in the government because we've always been in this cajoling, atmosphere where the government says this and does the otherwise. What do you think?
First and foremost, the issue of this tax reform that will be passed into law by both the National Assembly and the President is already an act.
Yes,
you cannot suspend its implementation. It's only a court that can suspend its implementation. So long as the President has appended the signature on it and it has become a law, no person can now say, don't implement it. The way it is, as inconsistent as it may be with whatever took place behind the scene, it has to be implemented. Why the investigation will be going on?
You say it's only the court that can suspend
it? Yes, it's an act.
What about the President?
The President cannot, he is a fortuitous official. He has already finished performing his function there. He can no longer go back and say, we later discovered that there was an error, so I'm trying to correct it.
But if the reforms are dysfunctional, it will only be like spanner thrown in the wheel of progress if it continues.
I want you to understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
A law or an act of the Parliament is a performance of the function of the executive and the legislature. If there's an error in that performance, they cannot go back and correct it so long as they have appended their signature.
Of course, yes.
It is a court that will correct it, or they go back again to go and amend the law by themselves. That is to say, the President that initiated it will still go back and say, they want to amend that act, then the National Assembly will still debate it and amend it.
So by this you are saying that,
yes.
By this you are saying that that will become a progressing error until the court does the otherwise.
Yes, that is it. Now, that is, by the way, when we talk about subsidy removal, and I've always said that it's not a Tinubu that removes subsidy. But, yes, I've said it repeatedly.
But he announced it.
Yes, he announced it. Yes, he announced it. And again, announcing it is part of what I said earlier, that you don't read the document or you don't append your signature on the document when you have not digested it. The man trusted his speech writers. They wrote it, and he don't know the implication.
Oh.
So he just read it. So subsidy is gone. Until this very moment, we have not recovered from the consequences of that statement. Yes. Now, talking about the benefit of subsidy removal, the money that is accruable to the country and the subnational and the local governments in the country.
Like tying it to the tax reform.
Yes, I will come back to that one. First and foremost, money that the federal government, through Federal Inland Revenue Service, that is now National Revenue Service, collected on behalf of the country. It's not that they collect the money and keep it in one place. There's a formula for sharing the money. The federal government will take its own. The subnational, which is the state government, will take their own on a monthly basis. And then the local government will also take their own. Now, when you hear the president say, go and meet your governor, it means that the allocation that is going to each of the states, since the money started coming from this subsidy removal, the state don't have any reason to say they are not performing their duties of good governance and bringing dividends of democracy to the people. So if you cry to the president will say, oh, why do you cry to me from Ebonyi State? Why do you cry to me from Edo State when I've already done what I'm supposed to do for your state, for your governor to show the example?
Okay.
Now, talking about fiscal federalism as it relates to this issue, there is more money that goes to the state government, and then we expected the state government to also now let the people know that we receive more money, and this is what we are doing with the money. Why I like Kwakwaso, former governor of Kano State, is that every week they used to have what we call weekly executive council meeting. At the end of the meeting, the man will publish the proceedings of that meeting in national dailies throughout the period of his administration. It means the man was transparent.
Okay.
So every state government in Nigeria is always having weekly executive council meeting. What we see is just a press statement, either press statement from either secretary to government, chief of staff, or maybe one or two commissioners in that government. The details of what happened here, the people are not aware of. And there's no place that the people engage government to know the effect and the impact of this tax reform and the issue of subsidy removal on the revenue generation capacity of each of the states. So that becomes a problem. Now we have an issue with accountability in Nigeria generally, whether at state level, whether at local government level, whether at federal level.
And this may also affect the proceeds of the taxes or the reforms.
Yes. So
how do we tackle that?
Yeah, for us to tackle that is to strengthen the capacity of anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria, like ICPC, like EFCC.
Yes. Under the leadership of President Ahmed Bola.
When you say under the leadership of President,
I just wanted you to add that.
Yes, under the president,
not the forthcoming.
Yes, under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
You see, people that talk in public, people that do public analysis, people that create content on social media, sometimes either they are mischievous or they are ignorant. Now, the president is president of Nigeria. He's not president of any political party. And in any case, there are state institutions. The president can only provide policies for running of state institutions.
Okay.
The issue of accountability.
Okay.
The president, there are bodies that are responsible for accountability, starting from the National Assembly.
All right, let's go on.
We have a public account committee in that National Assembly that's supposed to make all government institutions to account for the money that is allocated to them on a yearly basis or quarterly basis.
Okay.
Have they been able to do that? How many people have they indicted? How many people are facing justice? How many people are being made to refund certain amount of money to government at the end of the day? So when we talk about President Tinubu as if Tinubu is the maker of the law, he should be the implementer of the law, and he should be the
all right, thank you, Neville. While we allow that to settle, let's swing the pendulum to the spotlight on ADC and, of course, the third force debate or argument, most especially as we look at the 2027 elections forthcoming, and of course issues that seem to be emanating from different corners about the performance of the ADC. Would the presidential flag bearer of the ADC determine, or who becomes the presidential flag bearer, determine how successful the ADC will come up as a third force, going by what we are looking at? I want you to take it from there, Ibrahim.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, in fact, I don't even know why they say the third force, because in all sincerity, the ADC, as currently constituted, is the alternative to the APC in Nigeria. It is the party that has a conglomeration of the most tested, renowned politicians in the opposition. For example, from the Northeast, you have an Atiku Abubakar. From the North Central, you have David Mark. From the Northwest, you have Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai. From the Southwest, you have former minister, former governor of Osun State, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. From the South, you have people like John Odige Oyekun and Professor Sareme Osumbo. And then from the Southeast, you have Peter Obi. There's no other political party in Nigeria today that has that kind of agglomeration of battle-tested, renowned Nigerian politicians in the opposition. No other political party, apart from of course, the only other party that does much better than that is the ruling APC. So I don't even know why people call it the third force, when actually, as of today, even though it does not have a governor in its fold, it's actually the main opposition party as of today. So I think that is maybe why we're having that discussion around the ADP, and its presidential flag bearership. The argument has been that ADC is a vehicle for which Atiku Abubakar stands to run. It's a vehicle going to run with, because it's the most prominent politician who has defected to the party. Atiku Abubakar is a multiple times presidential candidate across political parties. He has been ACM presidential candidate. He has been APC aspirant. He has been PDP candidate twice, for presidential candidate twice. And then the other people have also had the argument that, okay, now that Peter Obi has finally now joined, perhaps they have agreed to give ticket to the Peter Obi. But I think that the ADC is a bit careful now, because they know that all the other attempts they have had, they are false starts. Because it appears that the APC is not only in power, but they are in control. Since the APC got into office, at least from 2023, all other major opposition parties have been in disarray. The party that came second, PDP, is now a shell of itself, because the candidate of that party in the last presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has defected to the ADC. The vice presidential candidate, the running mate to Atiku, Ifeanyi Okowa, has now moved to the APC. That I'm talking about, and then at the last elections, they had 11 governors. Today, the PDP has only 3 governors, only 3, with the defection of Mufwang, and even resignation of the Osun State governor. So the party now has, from 11, it now has just 3 governors. Even though the ADC does not have a governor currently in its fold, it is certain that the PDP has fallen down the pecking order. And then look at the Labour Party. Itato, we never knew where Obi was. Is he still in Labour Party? Has he moved to join? Because he was part of those who formed the National Rescue Movement that fused into the ADC. So the reality is that whoever, and the ADC, for them to have a fighting chance, they have to be very careful, because in 2023, one thing that killed the PDP's chances was that, like they say, a house divided itself could not stand. The candidate that came second in that election, 2023 general election, Peter, what do you call him now? Atiku Abubakar had 6.9 million votes. It was of the PDP. The candidate that came third, Peter Obi, got 6.1 million votes. He was a vice presidential candidate of the PDP. He was a presidential aspirant until he now declared to the Labour Party. So it was you can simply say that he was from the PDP. He got 6.1 million votes. The one who came fourth, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, was also of the PDP up until he decided to form the NNPP. And then he got 1.9 million votes. So the other thing that if you put those second, third, and fourth votes together, ordinarily, on paper, they would have defeated the APC, who got 8.1 million votes. But the thing is that a house divided against itself cannot stand. And so, unless the ADC can put its house together in order, it's fait accompli. It's a foregone conclusion that the APC may likely win.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
The 2027 election.
Thank you, Ibrahim. That was quite articulate. Well, let's be frontal more in the question, as we have it, like he said. What do you see as more beneficial for the ADC and, of course, Nigerians, basically? Is it the presidential flag bearer for Peter Obi or for Atiku?
Now, when you look at the ADC, the only difference between the ADC and the APC is the man called Peter Obi. It's the only difference. Oh. Atiku Abubakar, most of the APC party members or sympathizers or supporters talk about, was once upon a time in APC. Look, whatever game you see the ADC playing just now, the APC, as led by President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, played it between 2013 to 2015. So I want to believe that they are paying him in his own coin, because the game he played then President Goodluck Jonathan was a Southerner, but we saw a president who is from the South supported a Northerner. So what is bad if Atiku Abubakar emerges as a flag bearer of ADC tomorrow? What is wrong with that? And then somebody will come and tell me, oh, it is the turn of the South. Why is he come? When it was the turn of the South under Goodluck Jonathan, did Asiwaju President Bola Ahmed Asiwaju supported a Southerner? The answer was a no. He brought a Buhari who was a disaster. We saw, and himself did promise us that he was going to start from where Buhari stopped, and we are seeing it. So, if ADC wants to be the third force that most bookmakers
or as the only alternative for the APC, like what Ibrahim said,
are thinking is for them to bring a viable candidate that will lead that party in that elections. Again, I want to tell you, it is unfortunate that the Nigerian style of politics, as arranged by the political class, is on South-North divide, Muslim-Christian divide. Then the politicians were the one who came up with that formula. So if any other political party emerges and toe that line, I, for one, will not complain, because they were the ones who propagated that.
Okay.
Hence, that is their style of politics. Then let others follow. But I think I see the ADC to be the third force.
Okay. What do you see as the doom or the fortune of the ADC in respect of getting the right presidential flag bearer?
You see, when we talk about presidential flag bearer in Nigeria political dispensations, we have to put a lot of things into consideration. My co-discussor, who is a legal practitioner, talked about Goodluck Ebele Jonathan period just now. I tried to accuse Bola Ahmed Tinubu, now president, then as opposition person, working with Buhari. What happened there? We need to make it clearer for our people. Was that when Yaradua died in the office, with all the controversies that went with it, they now had to make Goodluck to be acting president through the doctrine of necessity. Then he now appointed Namadi Sambo, governor then of Kaduna State, to become his vice. During that period, there was an agreement. One, that Namadi Sambo and the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, they were going to complete the tenure of Yaradua. Then they will contest one more tenure. The power will return back to the north. That was the agreement. I remember our late brother, the owner of AIT, Chief Remodu Kwesi, was one of the people who were there when the agreement was signed. And when it was now 2015, and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was coming again to contest for presidency, the man came out and brandished the document. That look at the document that was signed and look at how we all agree that power will now return back to the north. By the way, on this studio, former governor of I try to remember that man's name. No, not Kwakwaso, the one that came from Kwakwaso.
Okay, Ganduje.
No, not Ganduje.
Umar
Okay,
Ganduje.
no,
Okay,
you
have 30 seconds to round off.
Okay,
Go ahead with it.
Yes, Ibrahim Shekara was on this studio, and he came to campaign for Isaiah Mudian as governorship candidate of APC, no, of PDP in 2016. And your the outcome that day,
okay,
Dr. Kokoso asked him a question. The outcome, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, with all the support, did not win election. The man broke everything down. That for how many years of a democracy in Nigeria, that did not only rule for 2 years in Yaradua, Obasanjo ruled 8 years, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan ruled for 6 years, and he was going to rule for another 4 years to make it so to be 12 years, and did not want it. So they now had to look for a candidate that was acceptable to both north and south, and they found that one in Buhari based on his performances in previous election that he contested, and because of that one, they did not have to rally that Buhari. That's how Buhari became. So when we are talking of third force, we are talking of ADC, we are talking of power. So there is a political power configuration on the north side.
Thank you.
We should look at very critically how power is presently constructed in Nigeria.
Okay.
And how the president now should be given opportunity to rule for 8 years.
All right.
So that power can return back to north.
Thank you, gentlemen. Big thanks for taking our time to be part of this. We will continue this conversation maybe in subsequent editions, but we now take a short break. After that, we will be joining Abuja, Dominic Yamase of Abuja Network Center for a continuation of the conversation from that axis. Do stay.
To the program this morning on Night TV. We are now back to our Abuja Network studio, where we'll be looking at our opposition party, the strength of the new, should I call the heart of opposition, because most persons are now looking at the African Democratic Congress as one strong party that may give the ruling party run for their money in 2027. It's already 2026, and it's the electionary year. We already know that from this very moment, attentions, governance will be very, very slow. Attention will now be turned to who occupies the presidential villa this time in 2027. We've seen a strong personality. Person of Peter Obi recent declared that he has finally left the Labour Party and joining the ADC, where he was welcomed even by the former presidential candidate of the PDP, now also a member of the ADC, Atiku Abubakar, has indicated his interest to work with Peter Obi for them to form a formidable opposition against the ruling party, of course, any other party. But I have joining me this morning to discuss this and other matters is an APC member also. Well, I know it will be a one-sided, but we expect the youth leader of the ADC will be joining us later. I have Peter Eke with us this morning. Very good morning to you. Sam Eke, pardon that. Very good morning to you and a happy new year to you.
Same here.
Yes, we've had you a very long time ago. You've not been here, but good enough you're here. We've been hearing so much happening in your party. Many persons have accused the APC of not really carrying the people along, especially with the recent the commencement of the tax bill. Let's start from there. That is one reforms of your administration that many persons did not align well with, especially the public. I don't know whether it's publicity or probably the people do not understand the concept of the new tax law. Let's begin from there.
Well, I am not speaking for the party here. I'm speaking as an individual, as a concerned Nigerian. Good morning, viewers. Happy New Year once again. The truth is, we need a tax reform as a nation. You have agencies that are responsible to give information to the public, like the National Orientation Agency and so on. If they have not done their best, that's left for them. But we also have an issue whereby lawmakers will tell Nigerians that, oh, the gazetted document is not what we pass. So these are issues, if they are true, we must look into as a nation. But one thing is sure, I believe the government will not do anything to strangle its citizens economically. So if the reform is needed, let's go there. It's better we have a reform that is sincere. Today, if you have a small business in Nigeria, you're taxed left, right, and center. You don't even understand. You pay levies to local government officials, you just don't understand the amount of money you're paying. You don't know if it's entering government or it's entering private pockets. So we need a system that will bring the tax into one basket so that we know what you're paying for.
So in other sense, you don't have problem with this?
No, I don't have problem with
and
it.
As a party member?
Yeah.
So you
No, I don't have problem with the reforms. We need a tax reform in Nigeria. Let me give you a simple example. If you are trading in tomatoes, let's say fresh tomatoes from Abuja, maybe to Calabar, you'll be spending close to between 3 to 7 or 500,000 naira just on the road to get to your destination. At every local government, you see some hoodlums who block the road. They are all tax officers of every local government. You don't need this in a nation for such businesses to grow. Because of that, every market in the south, the difference between the market in the south, what you sell products in the south and the north differs. Food. So you need a system that will harmonize and give us just one tax.
Well, I know it's going to be very difficult for us to get that harmonized. I bet to be corrected because, like you mentioned, every local government have their own different taxes, and I feel this reform is trying to harmonize it.
Yes.
Let's leave tax matters for now. Let's go to politics. The APC The PDP and the ADC, we all know that 2027 is just a few, less than 12 months from now, and the electionary activities definitely begins from 2026. The ADC is one party that is coming up strong, and most persons feel it will give the APC a run for their money. I don't know whether you see that as a party member, or you feel we should just hold on and wait for the drums to begin to beat. Then we'll know who is who in terms of politics in Nigeria.
No, as a concerned Nigerian, I will tell you, the election would not be business as usual, both in the part of the APC and in the part of the opposition. The ADC will come out strong. The PDP will also not fold its arms. Other smaller parties will not fold its arms. But I would advise the opposition to unite and become one, so that they give the ruling party a run for
in what sense?
accountability.
Because I know the PDP, for instance, we know what's happening in the PDP with the faction and all that. Are you saying now we should have a coalition? Because the ADC came out as a coalition.
I don't know what the opposition will come out with, but the opposition should understand that what is important is winning elections. It's not even making noise. The APC should also understand that the wave of defections does not guarantee winning elections. What is important is, what have you given to the people? Has it translated into a better life for Nigerians? Do we have better infrastructure? Do we have ease of doing business? Do we have better security? Do we have better life as Nigerians? Are we proud to be Nigerians at this time? This is what the ruling party should look into and work more for. The opposition should also be able to stand up and ask questions. The opposition is not doing opposition. The opposition, they are just doing what I call tea party. They just sit down, discuss things that doesn't matter. What matters most in this country is the citizens. Are we actually proud that we are Nigerians?
Well, if you tell
things have been better.
Opposition party has been having tea party, look at what is happening, for instance, in the PDP.
Yeah.
There have been allegations and permutation from every corner that a certain individual is being used by the APC to make sure that the opposition party does not stand, does not have a say.
Unfortunately, if you want to be used, you'll be used. If I am in such party and I'm leading the party and I know you're a Mo, I would either expel, suspend, or... You see, it's about the people coming together, galvanize, and tell themselves the truth and go for what they want. Nobody can use anybody except you want to be used. If the PDP is no longer there, because what it seems is that the PDP can no longer create the needed opposition. So now there's an alternative, which is the ADC. The ADC should also change the path, because most of the persons in the ADC were all in the PDP. Some were in the APC at a point. The same recycled, change their ways. The youths and the young people who are the large chunk of voters would also decide their fate. Whether we like it or not, 2027, the world is watching. Nigerians are ready to come out to vote. Nobody anywhere can rig election. It should not sound as if it's a warning. Nobody anywhere can rig election. We don't want anybody to rig election. You perform, the people like you.
So why are you so confident that this election will not be rigged? We've had so much talk in previous elections, and then by the time the results are out, the opposition parties, as we're mentioning now, will always come up and allege.
It's good
election rigging.
It's good you're fair as an individual. The timing of announcing the last election result was wrong. You cannot announce election result by 4 a.m. and we'll clap while people are sleeping. That will not happen again. the opposition will wake up. Their eyes will be open. The collation center, nobody will live there. So it should be a situation where both the ruling party, the opposition, everybody should wake up and go to the people and seek for the people's mandate. A situation where everybody in PDP has infused into the APC, believing that there's a magic that will transpire, that will give them the vote. No. The people will vote. The people will stand by their vote. They will follow their result until they see the final.
It's no longer your sins are forgiven.
No. No, it is not. It will never be.
We've seen that most, for instance, we know what's happening with the Bauchi State governor as it stands now. Is being charged for corruption, for funding terrorism and all that. And he said it's because he's in the opposition.
No. If anybody is funding terrorism, go to courts and defend yourself. That is, by the way. If you are in the APC and you think you can just win election, I pity you, because it will be something that will break you down after the election. So what I advise is that if a politician, go to the people, talk to the people, seek the people's mandate, and if God gives you victory, so be it. But if you're thinking, oh, because I am close to the president, I'll win. Let me give you a clear example. In 2023, a lot of APC governors could not win their states. So it is not if you come to APC, you will win your state. No. A lot could not win their state. Some of them have left the party today. People like El-Rufai couldn't win Kaduna.
To come to the Senate.
People like Al-Makura, I think he was governor then, he couldn't bring, the Nasarawa State governor could not bring Nasarawa State. So it is not when you come, it's automatic. No. When you come to work, support the president, and send the dividends of democracy to your people. But if they are not doing that, and they are just defecting, it is not a plus, it's a minus. So we want them to defect and also.
Okay, let's look at the ADC, which is the center of our discussion now. We have very important personalities in that party that have in the past indicated interest to rule. We have the Peter Obi, like we just mentioned earlier. Atiku is there. Amechi is also in that party. Even El-Rufai. Looking at these four persons, do you think the opposition party, or rather the ADC, stand a chance of providing somebody that can stand a person of Atiku, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or any other candidates in this country, looking at these four persons in that party? Because we know it will get to a time that it will become a problem in that party. Even Atiku is saying he's ready to work with Peter Obi. We know how, if you look at the antecedent of Atiku in previous parties, we know how it plays out.
Well, I am not a member of that party, but I will tell you for free, it won't be business as usual. Anybody the party brings up will give the president a bit of real opposition. Anybody. The issue there is simple. Are Nigerians satisfied with the government of the day? If yes, they will go with the president. If no, the APC should be ready for more work. So, the people in the APC have done opposition before. Remember the names you just mentioned. Some of them were against Jonathan, and Jonathan lost the election. Yes, Asiwaju is a master strategist, as people say, but the strategy might not work all the time. You might have everything in your powers to make you get ease of achieving whatever. But sometimes in politics, watch carefully people around you, if they are doing the right thing. Watch if people who have assisted you get to that position, if they are also happy with the situation. not a situation whereby people who have labored tirelessly to bring the president to where he is today, some of them are out there, and people who were insulting the president are ambassadors, nominated to be ambassadors. You know, they might remain in the party without saying anything, but these are persons you need to look into and also find a way to cushion the effect. Then the populace, are they okay? I know food has, the price of food is coming down, but will their take home really take them home? The salaries people take home as monthly salaries, does it sustain them in a month? Are we fighting corruption? Is the insecurity in Nigeria, is it better? You know, these are things that would help the president. Is not insulting whoever that says anything against a policy of government.
So where should the opposition now turn their
What
attention
the opposition should do now is to look at every policy of government that is not popular and stick to it and run with it. Every policy. There's a tax law, there's a controversy, you take it and you speak. But the opposition is not doing that. Oh, there's insecurity here. You talk. That was what the APC did to the PDP, and finally it helped.
It helped. We've not
But
seen
in the opposition, you don't have a party. What you have is individuals. You have one Atiku there, one Peter Obi there, one Amechi there, one Erufai there, everybody doing his thing. You have one Kwankwaso there, you know, one Aregbesola there. You can see the names, but everybody is like an institution of its own. Sometimes it's good, but they have to come together and provide the needed opposition. Today, in the next 1 month or two, 1 month and some weeks, we should be having an election in FCT.
And next month?
Yeah. Have you seen any form of opposition in FCT?
So you tell me, you are a party member.
Yeah.
Because most Nigerians, sometimes most persons are not even aware that elections, especially in the FCT, are coming up. That's why you get to see very low turnout of persons during the FCT election. Why do we have such outcomes in the FCT? Unlike what we've seen in the states, the terrains are different when it comes to election.
The issue there is that both the opposition, mainly every election cycle in the FCT, the elites feel it's a local thing. The middle class in the FCT feel, oh, it's for them. It's just for, a lot of people think the area council election is meant for the indigents. No, but it's meant for every resident in FCT. If you know you pay tenement rate in FCT, it's for you. If you know you pay kiosks and liquor, it's for you. If you know you pay all those funny levies that are demand notice, it's for you. So I call on all residents in the FCT to come out in mass and vote.
But it seems even political parties are not even doing enough.
The ruling party is moving here and there, talking to residents, but I cannot find any opposition anywhere.
That's because they've been muzzled aside.
With what? With what?
By the time you go to area councils, virtually all the area councils are one political parties.
I don't think so. I think Kuje is not APC.
Kuje is PDP. We have the
Buhari is not APC.
So why do we have very low participation of political parties?
It is the attitude of residents in FCT. Once residents in AMAC, time will come, it won't be so. Give it, let's see what the next general election would look like. It won't be so. Time will come, it won't be so. But now, a lot of people are You know, they feel reluctant to participate in the process of, and the most important election is the local government election, especially that of the area council election, is the most important election for anybody living in Abuja. Because that area council is the closest government to you.
Well, probably they felt they really feel the impact.
No, because the FCDA, the FCT administration, is the one they see providing roads, water, and giving them right of occupancy and certificate of occupancy. That's why they don't know. But the closest government to them is the area council. What is the, see, nobody is asking question, how many billion is budgeted to an area council and what the area council is doing with it. These are issues that residents in the FCT don't care about. They think, some of them think it's just meant for early settlers, early settlers in the FCT. But to me, the advocacy we should be doing is that everybody who have lived in the FCT should participate. If you own a house in the FCT, participate. If you work here, participate. If you do business here, participate. And once that is done, you have a robust process. But today you're not having it.
But let's look at the empire itself, the Electoral Commission. I know it has a part to play in this. We're looking at the FCT election, despite the fact that we were talking about opposition parties. Like I mentioned earlier, nothing of, not much of sensitization is going on. Even as of this morning, you barely see jingles or party doing anything, even on social medias or on contemporary media. It takes me back to sensitization. It means INEC attention is not really focused, but I feel the political parties have a role to play in this. If INEC will provide the logistics for the running of the election, what political party, what are they doing? We keep saying residents don't have interest in it, but the political party are not going even to the grassroots.
That's why I said the opposition is not playing its role.
So how do we get them to change the narrative?
The candidates in the opposition might not have the capacity to also play the role. Even the ruling party is not doing enough. Because you need sensitization, mobilization, galvanizing the people, making them understand why they should participate in this process. But the truth is, all this cost finances, money. So, is there money for that? How much is budgeted to the National Orientation Agency? Because National Orientation Agency, I keep asking question, what is the amount of money given to National Orientation Agency to run these sensitizations in states, communities, local governments, and so on, all around the country? If the money is not much, you won't find much. How much has INEC budgeted for sensitization of the populace?
Even the ongoing INEC registration is there. Where I think the second phase is beginning.
I just heard that the second phase is beginning, but the sensitization is low. Now, it's left for political parties to wake up. Sometimes you don't need money. You need to give the people hope. They should wake up and start giving the people hope and tell them reasons why they should. And another thing, some persons must have lost hope in the process of governance in Nigeria. There are situations where you talk to people, they say, no, anything concerning government, I don't.
Why do you think is that? Because I asked you earlier, has your party done enough for them to even vie for opposition?
Yes, sometimes people have their reasons for saying so. At a point in this country, insecurity was so high. Today it has gone down.
It has gone down. There was reports at what happened
so
in
Niger State. If a man has ever paid ransom, you know he will lose hope in government. If a man has ever paid ransom. he will lose hope in government. So some persons have lost hope. Some persons don't want to even hear or participate in any process concerning the government. A man that provides his own water, his own electricity, his own security, and grade the road to his house, what will you be telling the man about government? There are people like that. There are communities in the FCT that if you go there, you ask questions. So such people have lost hope.
Well, we just hope that our political parties will definitely take a new leap and ensure that we move forward. The FCT election is I think in February next month.
On the 21st of February.
Yeah, as we wrap up now, it's 2026. We know definitely that governance will not be shut down, but there will be a bit of a diversion from the normal governance. A focus will be on 2027 election. What's your last take as we go into the election?
In the last 1 year, governance have slowed down. It's politics, 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 politics. So this is a campaign year. Governance will slow down more. So let's not be deceived. It will slow down more. But hopefully, I advise people in governance, especially the ministers, they should do more. The ministers of works, minister of power, minister of any minister you are, do more and do less politics.
All right,
you can hear the FCT minister, he said the politics of Rivers State will start in 2026. So governance in FCT might.
All right, it means it might continue.
It might not.
Thank you so much, Sam Eke, being on the program this morning on Night TV. It's quite a delight having you on our program this morning. Well, we'll take a quick break. When we return, I will be joining our Lagos studio for the continuation of the program this morning on Night TV.
ITV, certainly the best.
All right, thank you for joining us on the continuation of TMI from our Lagos Network studio. I'm Patricia Uremu Gabriels. And of course, it's a continuation actually, because we're going to continue where we stopped yesterday on the new tax reform You know, a whole lot of Nigerians are not understanding it. And then the House thought that what we did yesterday wasn't enough for Nigerians to really understand what this tax is all about, who will be taxed and who is not going to be taxed. So we're going to be continuing from where we stopped yesterday with our same guest, Mr. Segun Shobito. Mr. Segun Shobito, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for
Of course, we have stressed you for the 2 days stretched out because we want to make Nigerians actually understand what this tax is actually for and who is going to be taxed and those that are not going to be taxed. Because every Nigerian on the street is just grumbling about this tax. Okay, people say we go to the market to buy things and they are taxing them already on the items that they're purchasing. So we actually want to have a clarification on that aspect, who is going to be taxed and who is not going to be taxed. Thank you so much, as always, for coming. So let's just kick off by starting to ask, what are the major changes Nigeria should be aware of under this new tax reform?
I mean, the interesting part of all of this is that the changes are actually not radical. We've had tax laws before. It's not as if we didn't have tax laws. We have tax rates. People were expected to pay personal income tax. People were expected to pay their pay-as-you-earn. People were expected to pay company income tax, you know, and all of that. And none of that has changed. Withholding tax has been there before, now it's still there. Value-added tax. I think the most significant change, to my view, is just the fact that the government is automating the process and harmonizing it across, across the different tiers of government, trying to create an environment where multiple taxation is dealt with to a certain extent. You can never really, you can't, and it's important to put that out there. You can't solve the problem of multiple taxation completely because at the local government level, the Constitution allows them to collect levies and fees. And some of those levies, they get very creative. And, I don't see how the Joint Tax Board will be able to stop all of that. If they're able to, that would be fantastic, but I don't see it. So in terms of changes, I think the primary change is now the taxman is going to be on top of his game. They're going to use the opportunity of technology to track transactions, to identify every taxable citizen, whether corporate citizen or individual Nigerians. I think that's the primary difference. Of course, there are changes, slight adjustments here and there to the tax rates, to how the tax is applied. Of course, we spoke about, yesterday we spoke about the issue of people that will be exempted from paying taxes at all, whether as individuals or as small businesses, corporate companies as well. Even a certain category of businesses, the corporate income tax that they're going to be paying has also been reduced from 30% to 25%. Definitions on issues of capital gains tax have also changed. How the capital gains tax is calculated has changed to promote the investment habit, in the stock market, and all of that. So, for example, the returns that you earn, from your trading in the stock exchange, for example, is tax-free up until a profit of 10 million naira. So there are changes like that that have been put in place to encourage activity and productivity in the hope that the improved activity, the improved productivity will result in more wealth that the government can then tax. Again, the conversation is ongoing and it's everywhere. And one of the things that we were saying yesterday on another platform that I spoke is that actually now the challenge for the average Nigerian is you decide for yourself, where do you want to be? Do you want to be below the threshold? If you don't want to pay tax, it's fine. Stay below the threshold. Don't grow.
How do you stay below the threshold?
Don't grow in your life. Don't improve.
Oh.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's for me, it's a very simple thing. Everybody wants to grow. You don't want to stay earning minimum wage for the rest of your life. You don't want to stay earning 200, 300,000 naira daily sales as a business. You want to get to the point where you are recording 10 million naira in sales every day. You know, you are doing $1 billion naira in turnover every year, right? So if you get to that point, you will pay your taxes. So,
Okay.
and I think that's a good thing. It's not something that we should
It's a
be
good
worried
thing.
about. It's not something we should shy away from. It's not something we should be scared of.
It is a good thing for the government. That's what the citizens
For
of
the citizens
Nigeria
as
will
well.
say, you
For the-
know,
for the
because I
citizens
think
as
it's
well.
been difficult for them to really understand.
Because they don't get it.
Yes, they don't. They just conclude and says it's for the government. Okay. But let's go and look at the personal income tax and VAT or corporate taxes. How does this reform affect personal income tax or VAT, you know? Because just before we came on air, someone was talking about how he bought data for his Zoom for the month, and he was, you know, charged by VAT, which has always been there. Is it going to increase, or it will remain on the same charges as at before?
But value-added tax
Yes.
has not changed in terms of the rate that is applied. It's 7.5%. There was a proposal for it to become 10% and then 12.5 and then 15% in a graduated manner over a 5-year period. That was a part of the original proposals of the Oyedeele committee, but that was junked by the National Assembly, and the rate has been retained. So nothing has changed. A number of items have also been exempted from being vatable. I have a chart here that I can read out. I'll need to pull it out.
Okay, so but what about the personal income tax?
No, we spoke about that extensively yesterday. Personal income tax is also graduated based on the volume of income that you are generating.
Okay.
And there is a threshold below which you don't even pay any personal income tax, which is the 800,000 naira per annum threshold.
I want to go,
depending on how you want to interpret it.
I want to go a little bit down, you know, to speak like the ordinary Nigerian who really doesn't understand what this tax reform is all about. A lot of people say that ordinary Nigerians who don't understand it says they go to the market and they're paying tax on whatever goods they purchase. Is it supposed to be so, or the sellers are just using this opportunity to tax their buyers?
I don't even understand what that means. I mean, how can you? I don't understand. The only tax that you pay if you go to the market, in quotes, right, whether it's a supermarket or the open market, is value-added tax. They are supposed to add the value-added tax, you know, to the figure that they're charging you. But most of the things that you buy in the market are actually tax exempted. They are VAT exempted. Food, there's no VAT on food items, right? So, what tax? How does that work?
But
so obviously there will be a number of people who will prey on the ignorance of the average person out there and go into unwholesome, sharp practices. I would like to call on the government, especially the Federal Consumer Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, to get their act right. If they have to increase capacity for enforcement and monitoring, they have to do that to protect the ordinary, unknowing, innocent Nigerian from exploitation by, you know, all these unscrupulous people who just, every little thing that happens, you know, they try to take advantage and profiteer. You know, the FCCPC needs to really, because now, over the next 6 months, whilst this is settling in and we're all adjusting, a lot of people are going to be trying to become funny, and they have to be checked. You know, so I would like to call on the FCCPC to do their work.
Well, that's actually my concern, because a lot of Nigerians out there have started complaining. But let's go see the impact on the business and the economy of our country. How is this going to affect the businesses, both the small scale, the medium scale, and the large scale business?
I think just for the economy as a whole, this is the part that we didn't get to yesterday. And for every gain, typically the way life works, for every gain, there is likely going to be some pain right? So let me give an example. If you see as a man, you see a guy like you, a man like you, and it's all bulked up, has biceps, bulging biceps, six-pack, everything on point physically, and you're admiring it, and you're like, wow, what a guy! I would like to be like that. Hello, the guy obviously would have spent a lot of time in the gym, punishing his body, sweating, grit, grime, hours every day. Maybe some people, I gym a bit, no muscles yet, but I gym a bit, and I know how painful it is. You go into the gym, and when you're out, you are in pain, literally, for days, sometimes until your body adjusts. So that, will eventually give birth to the gain of looking good. In this case, there is a transition process that we have to go through, which is that the tax reform will result in more people paying taxes. I've been repeating this, there is less loophole for people to escape the long arm of the tax man, because everything is now technology based, and we're tying everything to either your NIN or your CSA registration number. So people will pay their taxes whether they like it or not. The implication of that is that businesses that have been getting away with doing business, raking in profits and paying no taxes, will start paying their taxes. If they start paying their taxes, the likelihood is that, of course, their profit will take a hit, and they won't want that hit. So they are going to gross up and pass that additional cost, which is the tax they are paying, to the consumer.
Okay, so how can the government stop this actually?
No, there's nothing, it's not something to be stopped. It should happen. It's a natural process. So which means the implication of this, both for businesses, is that cost of doing business may go up slightly. At the end of the day, by the time you look at what the impact of the tax component of the overall costs will make, and you average it out, it will be significant, but I don't think it will be disruptive. So cost of doing business will go up inevitably, which will affect inflation inevitably. But the logic behind this is that if there is accountability with the use of the additional revenues, then the investment in social services and infrastructure that additional income will bring about from the side of the government should result in enough productivity gains to make up for the additional cost you are bearing. So if you are paying a little more, there is a slight bump up in inflation, but we begin to see that the roads are, I'm not just talking of grandiose projects like Coastal Road and all those stuff. The roads that we currently have that
maintenance,
are
yes.
If they are being maintained and kept in good shape, if traffic street lights are implemented across board so we have fewer accidents, if the healthcare system receives consistent funding because of additional revenue, and people don't die as a result of poor infrastructure and facilities in the public healthcare system, then those gains will make up for the pain of the extra cost. So the nexus is is a big if there is accountability.
If there's accountability.
And that is something that we as citizens must now demand.
We have been demanding for of course, the subsidy removal, and then we have not seen anything yet. So do you think this will have a different cause?
Actually, my theory is that I think it will. Because now, one of the things that moves the human spirit, is what's in it for me? How does this affect me personally? You see, this tax thing is going to affect people personally. We are going to feel the impact in terms of additional costs, in terms of additional payments to government that we were not making before, that now you have to make. Once that begins to happen, I think my theory is that it will awaken the consciousness of accountability, demanding accountability in the mind of the ordinary Nigerian. The reason we are so lackadaisical and we don't care, we appear not to care about anything, let them take it now, is because we don't pay tax. In countries where people pay tax, they make demands, and government knows it. So I think now that the government is insisting that you must pay your tax, I suspect that Nigerians will ask the questions that they must ask in order for government to now deliver services with the additional income. That has been the missing nexus, and I think that this tax bill, inadvertently, it's not like it's a deliberate intent of the government, but I think that's going to be one of the major outcomes of this. The fact that all of a sudden, because citizens are now being hit personally in their pockets, they will become more sensitive and they will ask the questions they must ask for development to happen.
Okay, before we go on, we have some random questions from some random Nigerians concerning their worries on the new tax reform. And someone called in and said, a landlord's concern, he wants to know rent of his house, which he charges for 2.5 million naira per annum, will be taxed on the said amount.
Yes, rental income is taxable. Subject to deductions of allowable expenses. So as a landlord, you collect 2.5 million in rent. Let's assume that you definitely be paying your tax on his income.
I hope you stand. Okay, talking about someone setting of taxing is giving their tenants a new account number with some of these digital banks and thinking that they could actually escape being paying tax. Is it possible for them to escape?
I mean, Nigerians we're quite an interesting people, So yeah, people are going to look for ways of circumventing this, and it's natural. But I think that because everything is connected to your personal identity, outside of your tax identity, your NIN or your corporate affairs commission number, or business registration number, or RC number, how do you want to escape? So that example that the person gives, so you give me, if I'm understanding well, it's likely to mean that maybe the landlord is giving an account number that is not in his name, right? So that he can escape the tax implication on the rent. But that account, don't forget, the CIP has successfully implemented a policy where your NIN must be tied to your account, and no account in this country, as far as I know, can operate without having the NIN tied to it. The bank will block it. Right? Whether it is I know that some of the fintech digital banks, some are still not complying fully. And you can open an account with relative ease without tying your NIN, but that will be closed up. I'm sure of that. So as long as your NIN is tied to the account, whichever account number the person is giving you has an NIN tied to it now. So that person, whatever the name of that person is, will have to account for what 2.5 million naira is, right? So let us assume that the tenant decides to collude with the landlord, and that could happen, because it's a personal interest again. The landlord says, look, if you don't do it this way, go away. I'll find somebody that will, right? So the tenant now decides to put gifts as the remarks instead of saying rent,
yes.
Right? The person that is the recipient, eventually what the taxman has is access to your transaction history, right? They can't debit your account, but they can see what's happening there. If there is unusual flows in your account that is not consistent with your transaction history, it will raise a red flag, and the taxman will investigate. So yes, it's going to be possible. People are going to find a way to circumvent this, and some of them will succeed. But I think that I wouldn't encourage that. I think that whoever is doing that, with all due respect to them, is an economic saboteur.
Okay. Let's quickly go to shipping lines. Okay, the tax reform sparks tension as shipping lines plan hikes. Of course, already clearing of goods in the shipping, or rather shipping goods down and clearing it is already very expensive. And they are also saying now with this tax reform, it's going to go higher.
I mean, that's similar to, we were talking about it yesterday, you know, the
airline issue. Yeah.
And I tell you, unless there's something I don't know, and I seriously doubt that, the only additional implication of the tax reform on any business, in any sector, is one of two things. It's either you were not paying your taxes before, now you can't escape, so you are paying, and you now therefore have an additional 25% or 30% cost percent of your profit as a cost that you are paying to government that you were not doing before. And like I said earlier, adjust your prices accordingly. Pass that to the consumer. There's nothing else you can do about that. Besides that, how else will your cost go up as a shipping company? How else will your cost go up as an airline? You are going to be, in fact, for the airlines, they were paying taxes because they are too visible. They were not escaping the taxman in the first instance. So some of them will even be paying less. So some of the things that you know, the MD of one of the airlines said on a TV interview recently, I found that quite mind-boggling. I cannot relate with it. He needs to come out and explain. The local airlines, their primary costs are in local currency. They don't have parking fees that they're paying in dollars. So how exactly will the tax reform result in, as according to demand, potentially 100% fare hike? I just don't get it, and I don't think that that is correct.
Okay. I think that's helping Nigerians to understand better, and then we'll be asking questions.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, and I think it's important to just say, off the back of what you just said now, that the reason we're saying these things is so that we can challenge these people that are saying these things. You know, somebody is saying airfares are going to increase 100%. We need to challenge that.
Yes.
Let them explain
to us why and how. Yes.
What is it about the tax reform that is going to make it suddenly so much more expensive?
Okay, just before we go, Mr. Segun Shogito, if there's one key message Nigerians should take away about this reform, what would it be?
Expect change, and change is good. Progress, there is no progress in life without change. You've got to change something if you want to see progress, so expect change. Now, also demand, my own personal message now to Nigerians on this tax reform is demand accountability. Demand accountability. So the person listening will say, how? It's simple. In whatever way you can within your reach. If it's your social media account that you have as within your reach, ask questions. Just post it. Because somebody can see that, retweet or repost, and it can go viral. And anything that goes viral, government listens. If it's a letter you will write to your local government chairman, or your state governor, or your House of Reps or senator, do so. We need to learn to begin to ask for the things that we want. Nobody is going to give it to you on a platter of gold. So my message is, for you to get the benefit of this tax that you will surely pay, because we will surely pay the tax. For you to get the benefit, you can't sit back anymore. You have to ask questions of your leaders.
I mean, we're going to leave it there, and I'm very sure that Nigerians have taken home everything that you discussed and said to us between yesterday and today. And that settles all the confusion and all the conflict and all the fear. Hopefully, we hope that has settled it, because Mr. Segun Shogito has done a lot between yesterday and today trying to make us understand how the tax reform is going to go. And so we hope that you understood, and you can actually send in a message if there's some parts you can't clarify. Send in a message and we'll be able to help you to clarify that properly. Thank you, Mr. Segun Shogito. Thank you so much for coming and making it easy for Nigerians to understand the new tax reform. Anyway, we're going to be ending this here today, and thank you for joining us, our viewers, and hope you understood and like Mr. Shegbito said, we are going to pay the tax. We cannot avoid it. Thank you for joining us on TMI. I'm Patricia Oremu Gabriels.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning. Big thanks for joining me on the news round at this time. I am Philip Omogyupo. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has warned President Bola Tinubu and the National Secretary of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Ajibola Basiru, to stay clear of Rivers State's politics. The minister gave the warning during a visit to Oyigbo local government area of Rivers State, alleging that the APC had received some funds from the 600 billion naira sum left in the state's coffers. He charged the APC secretary to learn from those who previously tried to meddle in Rivers State politics.
Billion. You come here, you collect, and you open your mouth to talk anyhow. I want to say it. You know, when you are doing something for the interest of everybody, some people will come out to make sure those things don't work. I say it here, Victor, I want to say it here. Take this message. Tell your National Secretary, leave Rivers State alone. Leave Rivers State alone. Go and ask those who have tried it before. Go and ask those who have tried it before.
Mr. Wike's earlier visit to Kana local government area of the state, Victor Giadom, APC's vice chairman representing the South-South region, had described Governor Siminalayi Fubara as a so-called governor. He also stated that Mr. Fubara could not win a second term in the state without going through Mr. Wike. However, APC's National Secretary, Mr. Basiru, described Mr. Giadom's remarks as unfortunate, noting that Mr. Fubara's office as governor should be respected. Meanwhile, the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Ajibola Basiru, has called on the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to resign from office following what he described as repeated attacks and interference in the affairs of the ruling party, particularly in Rivers State. Basiru said his comments were in response to Wike's criticism of his position that sitting governors deserve respect and remain party leaders in their states. In a statement, Basiru expressed shock that what he termed an innocuous call for respect toward elected governors could attract what he described as uncouth responses from a member of the Federal Executive Council. He stressed that his remarks were made in his official capacity as APC National Secretary and were aimed at protecting the party's interests and internal structures. Basiru also stated that Wike is not a member of the APC and therefore lacks the standing to interfere in the party's internal affairs. He clarified that his oversight responsibilities as National Secretary are national in scope and not limited to his home state of Osun, insisting that his comments on APC matters in Rivers State do not amount to interference in state politics. Reacting to allegations by Wike that APC leaders were scrambling for a purported 600 billion naira left in Rivers State coffers, Basiru dismissed the claim as blackmail. He described his personal and public record as one of integrity and challenged Wike to provide evidence of the allegation or be prepared to defend it in court. Basiru further rejected what he described as veiled threats from the FCT minister, stating that political intimidation would not deter him. He added that Wike's support for President Bola Tinubu does not confer APC membership and warned against importing opposition party practices into the ruling party. He concluded by advising Wike to resign as minister if he intends to continue actions that, in his view, undermine the APC from within the government. The need for management and staff of independent television and radio Benin City to appreciate the Almighty God for his mercies and protection in the past years, while also paying close attention to their health and well-being, came to the fore on Monday as the station held its January 2026 monthly prayer session alongside the first health awareness program of the year. Joy Obai Siagbo unveils the rest of it.
The 1-hour praise and worship session of independent television and radio held at St. Gabriel Hall, Igwosa, Benin City was attended by management, administrative, health and staff members. The session tagged Praise and Worship provided an avenue for collective thanksgiving and spiritual reflection at the start of the new year. In his address, the managing director of independent television and radio, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, emphasized the importance of gratitude to God for daily kindness, protection and survival, noting that appreciation attracts more abundant blessings.
Let us collectively, as a group that believe that there is a God up here, that you believe that there is a creator, let's jointly, collectively praise that creator for just 1 hour.
The atmosphere was electrified with uplifting music from Deacon Patrick Uwabo and his band, as management and staff engaged in spirited worship, praise and thanksgiving for God's faithfulness. The session also served as an opportunity to seek divine mercy, guidance and grace for the year 2026. Following the prayer session, attention shifted to staff well-being during the first health awareness program of 2026, where media practitioners were advised to prioritize health consciousness, especially in view of work-related stress, fatigue, irregular meals, and lifestyle-induced illnesses. Delivering a lecture titled Healthy Voices, Healthy Screens, Strengthening Public Health Awareness in Media Workplaces. A consultant in community medicine and public health, Dr. Bodeno Ehis, emphasized the need for health-friendly workplace policies and access to medical support services for media professionals.
Stress as psychological hazard, stress from deadlines and live broadcasts, irregular sleeping pattern due to shift work, worker relationship, workers management relationship, long distance traveling, and long stay at workplace.
The program featured an interactive question and answer session during which participants raised concerns on stress management, preventive health care, and workplace health challenges. Reflecting on issues raised, the managing director, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, called for improved personal responsibility, stronger departmental collaboration, and healthier management staff relationships within the organization. In her closing remarks, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Lady Celerina Ojomo, urged staff members to sustain unity and togetherness throughout the year.
Management and staff led by thank you for leadership, thank you for worker-management relationship, thank you all staff for worker-worker relationship. You know we are going to, and the Lord help us all in Jesus' name.
Also speaking, the Executive Director of Operations, Chief Elder Ogbede Owonse, and Director of Radio, Dr. Dan Omozusi, stressed the importance of cooperation and teamwork in achieving organizational goals.
Whatever you are doing in enhancing this job, you are doing it unto God Almighty. You don't need to be supervised. Everybody's reward is with God, and he must surely get it.
God has done so much for us. The food that we give to God is praises. That's why we started this year praising God.
From Benin, Joy Obaisiagbon, ITV News.
That does it on the news round for this time. Thanks for watching. Next is TMI Socials with Chuku Funaya Adegway. Happy viewing.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning and welcome. This is TMI Socials. I am Chukufum Nanya Digwe, and here's what's making waves across the social media space. Now, for our first story, it stems from the security situation in Nigeria, as 9 Nigerian soldiers were being killed in Borno during an IED attack. A military convoy from the 145 Battalion struck a powerful improvised explosive device, IED, on Sunday, 5 January 2026, along the Gubio-Damasak Road in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Now, the blast destroyed an armored vehicle, killing 8 soldiers on the spot, while a 9th died from injuries the following morning. At least 5 others sustained serious injuries and were airlifted to Maiduguri for treatment. Local sources attribute the attack to insurgents, with initial reports blaming Boko Haram, though security analysts suggest the tactics align more closely with ISWAP operations. The Nigerian army has yet to officially comment on the incident, instead publicizing successes elsewhere, including the disruption of a suicide bombing network in a separate operation. As you know, this particular one, the killing of these 9 soldiers in Borno State in an IED attack, has had the social media space definitely talking. Let's get to see this seemingly gory video that's largely publicized on the social media space of the ruckus of this attack, and then we'll take reactions.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. 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 La ilaha illallah. Ba magana, no till I keep quiet, okay? Wannan lamarin. No, that
Now, quite unfortunately, that is a very sad video of the incident of this bombing attack and the casualties of the soldiers that were recorded. Now, let's get to see how, very sadly, the social media space is reacting to this. This commenter says, "The deceased soldiers have served the nation and died as patriots. May God grant them eternal rest." Let's take the next comment. This next commenter says, "Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord. May your perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in peace. Amen. Thank you for protecting us. May God console your families." Let's take the next comment. This comment says, "This is truly sad. May Allah comfort the families of the deceased and grant speedy recovery to the injured and destroy the terrorists and their supporters. Amen. Condolences to our men in the Nigerian army." Let's see another comment now. This commenter says, "Truly sad. The Christmas Eve bomb attack in a mosque was a pointer that the terrorists have taken to bomb attacks. There is need to track their source to avert future attacks. These are the people someone said federal governments should dialogue with. Never." Let's take the final comment before we move on to the next story. This netizen says, "This is heartbreaking news. My condolences to the families of the fallen soldiers and prayers for the injured. As Nigerians, we must continue to support our troops and demand better intelligence, equipment, and care for those risking their lives to keep the country safe. Now, those are the comments on the very sad bombing attack that claimed the lives of 9 soldiers in Borno State. Now, moving on to the next story, as Wike warns traditional rulers and clashes with APC over Rivers politics. Now, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has warned traditional rulers in River State to stay out of partisan politics and avoid supporting Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Speaking during visits to local government areas, he insisted political matters should be left to elected officials. In Oyigbo, Wike also accused APC National Secretary Ajibola Bashiru of scheming to control state resources, calling Rivers a no-go area. Bashiru, in response, from Osun State, dismissing Wike's remarks as uncouth and urging him to resign as FCT minister if he wishes to actively engage in Rivers politics. Now, the official X page of APC Nigeria, as you can see on the screen, even quoted the National Secretary as saying, "For the avoidance of doubt, our records indicate that Minister Nyesom Wike is not a member of our party, APC. So he lacks the locus to dabble into the party, the affairs of our party." The spate highlights rifts within the APC ahead of the 2027 elections. Just to further buttress this, let's get to see the video of Wike actually asserting that traditional rulers should stay away from partisan politics, and then we'll take reactions.
We'll soon start politics. We'll soon start politics. I didn't say you should be involved. Don't be involved. Allow us to play our politics. Stay as a traditional ruler. I don't want anybody to say tomorrow, "Oh, you are putting your hand." Don't put hand. But that does not mean that you don't have anybody to support your mind. But allow us to play our game. If there's any problem, you call us to settle. But I want to tell you that not be business as usual again. All of us have taken decision on what to do. So I believe those of them who are children will tell you the decision we have taken, just for your ears, not for you to participate. You're my friend. So I don't want us, in fact, why I'm not becoming sick, because based on your stool, I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, Honorable, you've cancelled the recognition." That's why I don't want to come since. But since I've come here, you will not be happy that I left without coming to greet you. So.
Now, that's the assertion of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike warning traditional rulers to stay away from partisan politics, which he calls a game. Now, let's get to see how the social media space takes this. Daniel Rega says, Wike has the audacity to belittle traditional leaders like this because they fueled his ego by equally playing politics. A politician or government ought to hold traditional and regional religious leaders in high regards, as they have unparalleled authority over their subjects and followers. But look at the situation of things today. The level of disrespect is appalling. Let's see the next comment. This next commenter says, this game, he speaks of playing with Fubara. How does that affect the people of River State? What kind of heartless politicians do we tolerate in this country? This reign of impunity has to stop. Let's take the final comment before we move now to our final story. This final comment says, their greed and evil will consume them all. This is just the beginning. Anyone who indulges in politics not for the betterment of a society but for power, money, pleasure and ego will be consumed by the same evil they sowed in our politics. Now, those are the comments as regards the feud, if I should call it that, between Wike, traditional rulers, and even the APC. Now, moving on to the final story. Tension erupted in Ekpoma, Edo State, just yesterday on Monday, 5th January 2026, as a group of youths identifying as students of Ambrose Ali University, AAU, staged a protest against rising kidnappings following the abduction of several students and the killing of one, Abu Momo. The demonstration, which began around the Poultry Road axis, called on authorities to intervene and improve security in Esan West local government area amid growing fears for students' safety. The university management disowned the protest, stating that those involved are not registered students or recognized members of the students' union government, and condemned the action that could disrupt the academic environment in their view. Now, this protest took place yesterday after the very gory killing of one of the members of the student body. Let's get to see, this video, which I would warn you is a bit gory, one of the lineup of videos, and then we'll take reactions on it.
See the step for the see the step. Wait, now step where cut a meter when you call for.
Now from back they shoot.
Oh no, we know not kind. I mean, you need face and hold on now. Oh, when you face and now, you are not call the doctor. On me, hope you did.
People come and help us now. Help us. I beg, we not go with them. Beg you, I beg, help us. We are not wicked people.
I beg, see here, we dey, I beg, we dey share this one. I beg, they threaten to the court their body. We need the money 100. I beg.
That's why we are outside today to say Ekpoma is not safe. Then we don't have 1,500,000. We don't.
During the festive period, December, a lot of students in Ekpoma they were adopted. In indigenous as well, were also adopted in Ekpoma.
Now, the first snippet you got to see is the body of one of the kidnapped and killed victims of, this attack, dropped at a riverbank in Ekpoma. And also, you also got to see snippets of the protest that went on by AAU students. Now, let's get to see the comments that follow from the social media space. This comment says, "This is very saddening. Something needs to be done. Human lives are just being reduced to nothing." Let's take another comment now. This commenter says, "I'm a student in Ekpoma and we are not safe. Kidnapping has become a daily reality here. Students are being abducted, ransoms are demanded, and innocent lives are being lost. This is supposed to be a university town, yet fear is now part of our everyday life." Let's move on to the final comment on this story. This commenter says, "What is currently happening in Ekpoma, Edo State, is getting worse. A community that is dominated by university students has become a center of kidnapping. Students are being kidnapped daily with huge ransoms being demanded for their releases. The government of Akpakomiza, that is the sitting governor, has not shown any concern or put in action to safeguard the lives of students and the community at large. Ekpoma needs help." Now, those are the comments as regards that story. And here's where I draw the curtain on TMI socials today. And I'll hand you over now to Philip Omogupon for the finalization of the program TMI. Thank you so much for watching.
Hope you had a fantastic time with Chukwu Funaya on TMI Socials. Well, that bit of suspense that came with the last story really touched me, basically, as regards insecurity and students at the middle of it all. And we can only hope and pray that we take deeper governance into making sure that we secure lives and property. And it is the #1 responsibility of the government to do so. In as much as we also keeping tabs on community policing, everyone should endeavor to make sure that it reports any crime or any suspicion of that. Well, this is much you can take on today's episode of TMI. Remain law-abiding. Don't forget, it's still a new year. So whatever resolution you've got that is positive, stay on it. Keep your eyes on the ball. I am Philip Omo Gupon. Bye for now.